Right.
Hudaco Industries.
This finally is the one that I was referring to that has changed its business model.
And this is going to prove that we have stable GDP
And a
in
wonderful
South
economy.
Africa, I see.
And skilled management teams and investable companies.
Well, let's give you a little bit of detail about Hudaco. It imports and distributes branded industrial and electronic products.
Yeah, so traditionally, Hubert Davies companies, also established like in 1891. I kid you not, 1891. It was some Scotsman who was here at the founding of Johannesburg. And then it did all the mining supplies and all that, but is now increasingly getting into other...
So it's certainly got history on its side. Market cap here of 3.6 billion rand, a PE ratio of 9.6, and a dividend yield of 4.9%. This sector of stocks, good dividend payers across the board.
Yes, very cash generative because it's a distribution business. It doesn't really manufacture itself. There are small units that do some manufacturing, but on the whole, it's a distribution business which is more less capital intensive, more cash generative. And these are the types of models that I prefer. High gross margins,
annuity
pricing
income.
power, annuity income, not order-based, but more maintenance-based. Good capital allocation from management in the past, which I'm sure Paul would like to say a word on. Paul, you've been running the whole show to tell us.
Hudaco
Finally.
is your hotspot in our industrial discussion.
Steve Connolly and now his successor, whose name is Graham Dunford,
yes,
have been buying lots of businesses in the automotive, retail distribution, security equipment, all sorts of power tool brands and that sort of thing. And I think that's in recognition of the fact that their mining customers weren't buying
So
pumps
this is a clear diversification story.
And things at the same rate as they were before. Having said that, there's one other issue we haven't put on the table yet. Like 3 years ago, they had an abysmal disaster with a massive claim from SARS in relation to an empowerment transaction.
And it was about 3 years ago. Have they recovered from?
Well, they've settled and
they've settled with
paid.
SARS, but they've got the knives in for Bravura, who was their advisor. So that's interesting. We'll probably get some more information and news as time goes on.
But that's a net potential positive,
correct?
Right? If they're
so
suing
they've paid
someone.
it, but they might get a recoupment of that if they are successful in that.
Yeah.
Share price graph?
So you can see it wobbled around a little bit over the years 2013, 2014, 2015 as first the fine was announced and then got settled. And really it related to whether or not they could offset certain of their restructuring costs in a empowerment transaction, and SARS disallowed that and said that they had to pay fines and all sorts of things.
Do we call this one at this point? Is it something that you feel has recovered from the negativity of the SARS furore? Or is there still an overhang, given what you alluded to earlier with the advisor in the transaction, and that there is still some argy-bargy to be had?
Yes, argy-bargy, but it could be positive for Hudaco. So I think that cloud has lifted. And similarly to Invicta, I think even though the outlook is not great for these types of businesses selling to mining and manufacturing, they have diversified more into consumer products. They are very cash generative. They have a good management team. So notwithstanding the dire outlook, I think it's priced for the negative outlook, and therefore actually quite like the share.
I suppose, well, I know that you like this one. I'll be very surprised if you call this one not hot, because this is what you were waiting for, to demonstrate to me.
The shift demonstrates why equities are the preferred asset class. If you own bonds or other boring things like property stocks and so on, then what happens
You've got
to
to
you
be very careful
is
when you
if the
say
area
things like
you're
that.
in falls out of fashion, or the country's bonds you bought has a political crisis, there's nothing you can do. But companies are like organisms. They react. They see, there the business is going, I must go there. So that's why I think it's a
nimble business model. Hot or not on Hudaco? JP's already
Hot,
called it?
yes.
Hot.
I'm happy to call it hot.
You're calling
too,
it hot as well.